Everybody dance with me. I'll fix that. I'll shut the audio.
Welcome to Read My Lips Radio, a lively hour of unscripted conversations with savvy creatives. Producer and host, aka Radio Red, asks novelists, artists, photographers, designers, comedians, actors, musicians, composers, screenwriters, directors, and technology innovators about their creative passion, inspirational muses, and how they create. Welcome to Read How Those Lips Can Talk. Now,
there we go. And now we're having now I can turn off the audio on my keyboard and we're fine. Welcome to Read My Lips, a little bit of a bollocks here. Never happened before. I'm Radio Red and we've got a double hit here on my audio. My guests are saying, what kind of a show is this? What did I agree to do here? But we're here. Radio Red in the house. It's Monday and sometimes the live streaming doesn't go as smoothly as we hope it would, but we are here. This is my show where I gather interesting people. I call them my creatives. You are all my creatives today. That's because they're creating their lives, their businesses, their jobs, their work, their passions, their hobbies, their lifestyle, how they look, how they talk, how they dress, what they say, where they go. That's all our creativity. It's really not magic. It's what we all do. And today I'm naming this show The Toolkit of Creativity. And Larry, you know where I got that from. I usually name it after one of my guests. So what I would like to do now, let's make sure we've got everything. We're streaming and we're recording and life is good. And I don't know what I'll do at the closing, but we'll have to figure that out when the time comes. So I have a little opening here and I would like to read it. And I didn't tell all of you that we were going to rehearse it because I didn't think you need to. You're all very, very sharp. So I want you on the count of three to raise your hand in the shape of the letter L. Lupe and Larry and Stephen. I haven't introduced you yet, but just humor me. On the count of three, join me in saying hello, L, L, L. Just like that. 1, 2, 3. Hello, L, L, L. Jordan? Top of the list, number 1. I think they're tied with last week's panel who got it right. I was so excited, I forgot to say what that is. LLL is lovely, lanky Laura Legs, our most loyal listener. She's a lady I met years ago at a dance class. I wasn't teaching that one. I was studying, and we met, and we became friends. I don't think I've seen her in person more than 4 times in my life, and we've stayed in touch. At 6:01 p.m., I'm warning the 3 of you. Lovely lanky Laura Legs will email me and she'll give me a little tiny book report on what you said. Lupe Christensen, she'll have a paragraph for you. Larry Weingarten, there'll be one about you. And Stephen Melman, there'll be one about you. So you have to be really, really good because she's listening and she may be watching on YouTube as well. So I want to welcome you. It is April 21st. I like to say, what? Where is the year going? We're already past the first quarter if you do any kind of a corporate accounting. It's the 111th day, 111th of the 2025 Gregorian calendar. Used to be the Julian calendar. He skipped about 2 weeks in October and Gregorian came along and said, I can create a better calendar. That's why we have leap year every 4th year. Stephen knows that. 254 days left. Nothing to talk about yet. 16th Monday. Nobody cares about that except me. So I'm going to start with my opening, and I want to tell you that I have a little bit of a gift for each of you. I have written a rhyming introduction for each of you, and when I call your name, I just want you to wave. Okay, so here we go. Welcome to Cool Conversations with Creatives, where voices bold ignite with creative fire and impressive insight. AKA Radio Red on her Scarlett mic hosts the show. She adds the spark, oh dear, to our live streaming glow. We don't just talk, we dazzle, we shine, no pressure guests, with passion and purpose in rhythm and rhyme. We'll explore the toolkits of creativity bold as today's guest creative stories unfold. Larry Weingarten, Lupe Christensen, and Stephen Melman, too, are here to share their creative journeys with me and you. From brushes to blueprints, from stories to steel, their toolkits of life show us what's real. And here we go. Larry Weingarten is first. In Northern Cal, where old tanks may weep, Larry Weingarten dives deep where the rust likes to creep. Since 1982, licensed a builder with flair, he's solved heater puzzles with curious care. The muck vac he gave, noise gave the boot, the 50-year-old heaters, now that's resolute. With tools and with insight, Larry's books lay the track, a philosopher's wrench in a creativity pack. Larry, I hope you like that.
I wish I could write like that.
Oh, you're sweet. I'll tell you, I had a little bit of help, but I'll tell you later. Lupe Christensen is here. She rose strong, chasing dreams in the sun, from fields in the valley to degrees hard won. Told to stay small, She aimed sky high instead, with passion and drive, where most might have fled. From corporate halls to real estate deals, Lupe teaches us now how bold vision heals. With roots that run deep, she helps others to grow where money meets meaning, her creativity and stories flow. Lupe, I hope you like that.
Beautiful. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. I'm running out of steam here. And Steve Melman. Since talking with pros when he was 15, Steve Melman saw therapy as more than a dream. 40 years strong with compassion his guide, he's helped countless people go from struggle to their stride. From Memphis to Texas, Stephen's counseled with care, with wisdom and heart that's truly rare. Still helping today, his purpose rings true to lift up each soul and guide them on through. Stephen, I hope you like that.
Oh, I love that.
I'm glad. You're welcome. So gather round, lend us your eye and your ear as we dive into creativity with vision so clear. akaRadioRed's roundtable is set today. That's me. We hope to inspire you to live large, love life, and play. So what'd y'all think? That's my gift to you. Liked it?
I loved it.
That was wonderful.
Beautiful.
I have a helper. You're welcome. I have a helper named Sylvia. Her last name is Speed. She's my virtual assistant. We speak in French, Lupe. We communicate in French and in English. Her French is better than mine. And I sent her all of your bios, which were a couple of 100 words each. And I said, would you please come up with an 8-line rhyme for each of my special guests? And she sent me back in a couple of seconds, now you know who she is, a draft, Larry. And I went back to your bios and I matched up and I said, is this what I really want to say? I wasn't sure. I made some changes. I'm a writer, I'm a poet. And I went back to her and I said, I'd like this version better. And she said, would you like me to add a little more sparkle and sass? I said, okay, give it a try. And she did, and I still wasn't happy. So I changed some of the rhymes and I changed some of the information so that I was sure it would really coalesce with the hot spots of your life, with the highlights of your life. So thank you for enjoying that. That's something special I do on my show, and that's my gift to you. And no, I'm not sending you the text, but you can get it from my reading on the YouTube. So there you go. It's not the same as when you just read it on paper. So I'm thrilled to have all of you here. By the way, is anybody a Taurus born between April 20th and May 20th? Anybody? Nope. Okay, I used to do the zodiac sign, and I used to talk about the sign. It just happens to be there's a second sign of the zodiac, and it's Earth sign. Let's see if you want to be an honorary Taurus. Patient, determined, practical, grounded, focused, dependable, sensual, loyal, understanding, trustworthy, ambitious, generous and gentle, hardworking, and resilient. Anybody want to be an honorary Taurus?
Absolutely.
Yeah, sure.
Yes.
I'll take a little bit of that.
Hold on, I haven't gotten to the cons. Lazy, stubborn, jealous, materialistic, dependent, and indulgent. We'll pretend that we didn't say that. I just want you to know that famous is it Tauri, Larry, or Tauruses? Dwayne Johnson, George Clooney, Adele, Kelly Clarkson, Lizzo, Cher, Audrey Hepburn, Jack Nicholson, Renee Zellweger, Barbara Streisand, Penelope Cruz, Gal Gadot, and Stephen Colbert. That's quite a list. So if anybody wants to be an honorary Taurus, I hereby dub you thus. You're thus. Okay, there we go. So I'm sure I left a lot out in the opening rhymes. Larry Weingarten, I'm putting you on speaker view. Would you please do me the honor of filling in a couple of the blanks? And welcome, Larry. By the way, I met all three of you, I know, at the National Publicity Summit. I said that for my guest last week, and one of the people waited till the end. She said, I wasn't at the summit. I said, where in the heck did I meet you? She said, I cold pitched you. She found me. She emailed me. She said, I'd love to be on the show. It was so many months ago. I forgot where I met her. And I said, I'm sorry. So you are all three legitimately from the summit, and I'm glad. Larry, I'm putting you on speaker view. Please, anything I left out you'd like everybody to know. And welcome, Larry.
I don't think you left anything out, but I mean, let's just say I'm all about tools. And I've been for decades about tools that a contractor would use. But I've, in my old age, have discovered bigger, more potent tools, things like hope that you can prevent suicides with, other very strong tools. So I'm trying to step into those bigger shoes and use those bigger tools.
How do you define tools? I know that wrench is special for you, but tools in life. Can we get an analogy here or a comparison, Larry?
Well, a tool is something that you can use to make something happen. So that's a pretty broad definition. Think of perspective as a tool. I use it in troubleshooting. I love troubleshooting stuff. So if I can go to any problem and look at it through as many different lenses, perspectives as I can, I have a much greater likelihood of solving that problem.
So the lens is a tool, right? The lens is a tool that allows you to get
Yeah,
the perspective. If we
right.
we back it up to the actual tool. Thank you, Larry. I'm very happy to have you here. And I borrowed Toolkit from your information I have to come up with an episode title. It's different every week. And I've been doing the show 50 shows a year for years. And Stephen, it's hard to come up with original titles after a while. Thank you, Larry. Lupe Christensen, so happy. I'm honored to have you here. I met you at the summit. By the way, to my viewers and listeners, I get 2 minutes on the clock to meet these wonderful people. I'm taking notes the whole time. I'm saying, okay, good. April 21st. Lupe, are you available? Good. Give me your email. And the monitor is saying, time's up, time's up. So give me 3 seconds more, typing as fast as I can. So it was just a quick, but I knew right away when I met you, Lupe, I had to have you on the show. Lupe, fill in the blanks for us, please.
Yes, hi. Thank you so much for having me. That poem was just amazing. I mean, you didn't leave anything out. So what else can I add to that? It's beautiful. I think if I want to like plug in some details around that, it's how far I've come, right? And it's kind of fascinating how looking back, when you're in the thick of things, you don't really think about where you're at or how far you've come. If I'm making any sense, just I consider myself a late bloomer, right? Because when I was in school, I migrated from place to place. So I really never really had like a roots to grow and lean on those roots and continue to develop. So just by what you're saying, in terms of just circumstances not slowing me down or stopping me, it's just been, I think it's been a great journey, and I can't wait to share more about what I've created and what's to come in the future.
Thank you. You're very humble and very beautiful. Thank you very much for accepting the invitation. Stephen Melman is here. Stephen, talk to us. What I leave out? You're all being very kind and gracious about my 8 lines that summarize your entire life. So I'm very happy with that. But we have some time here. Stephen, what's up? Did I miss anything?
Oh, I think you nailed it. But I'll just add. Yeah, I think you just. I just add a few things. When I'm working with clients, I try to paint mental pictures for them. And one of the things I say, my job with you is to work myself out of a job. The last thing I want clients to become is dependent upon either me or counseling. I want to talk about tools. That's what I provide is tools, coping skills, helping them to have all these tools in their arsenal, and how to use those tools. So I always say that I'm much more active in the beginning, and then in the end, I'm much more of a cheerleader of encouraging them and encouraging them to use the tools that I passed on to them.
I like that a lot. My first therapist, when I was about 8 years old, I was crying all the time, and my parents found somebody to help me out. And I really wasn't that unhappy, but a boy told me he didn't like me in school, and I didn't take it too well. So
Oh no.
I know, Lupe, it just goes way, way back.
Yeah.
I currently have a counselor, Steve. He's a counselor, certified counselor, but he's not a PhD, and he's not an LCSW, and he's not any of that. And I meet with him once a week, and we just basically talk about life, my life, and he gives me feedback, and he's really smart and we have good conversations. So that's where it is right now. But anyway, that's too much information for all of you. Thank you very much. Let's go to the part of the show where I have asked each of you to please send me a quote from a fictional TV or movie character or a song lyric and the attribution, the source. So I've done my homework, as you're probably not surprised. I've got a little bit of background on everybody's quote, and then I'll ask you to just take a couple minutes and tell me what it says about what it has to do with your creativity or why you like the quote. There we go. So Larry has picked a quote from Gandalf, played by Ian McKellen, speaking to Grima Wormtongue, played by Brad Dourif, son of Galmod, The Lord of the Rings, The Two Towers, 2002 epic high fantasy adventure film. That's an awful lot of genre squeezed into one line there. It's let's see, directed by Peter Jackson, screenplay by a whole bunch of people, based on the 1954 The Two Towers, which was the second volume of the novel The Lord of the Rings, of course, by J.R.R. Tolkien. And Gandalf is an Istari wizard, if anybody doesn't know that, who fell fighting a Balrog. I hope I'm saying this right, Larry, and has now returned more powerful than ever to finish his task. Grima Wormtongue, love the last name, an agent of Saruman at Edoras, who renders Theoden incapable of decisions and desires Eowyn. I hope I made some sense of that. 3 storylines, and I'm not going to go into that. Here is the quote Larry has picked. The wise speak only of what they know. Oh, Larry, that's an interesting quote for creativity. What does it have to do with it? Go ahead.
Well, base one's life in truth. Make the foundation you stand on truth, disputable truth. So that's what I try and do. That quote rang for me because it's sort of, anything else. If you don't stand on something solid, how can you continue to stand? So I was given a choice as a child. I was pushed to be a lawyer. I chose instead to go do contracting and plumbing because that's pure physics. That's true. Dealing with the law was a mushy, not so much truth there. So truth really matters to me. That's why that quote.
Thank you very much. It certainly does matter. Okay, we won't make any comments reflecting. Where did Lupe go? There she is. You just blacked out for a second. Your picture, not you, dear. Okay, yes, truth. We wish. Let's just leave it there. Thank you very much. Lupe, you've picked a classical quote. I haven't heard it in a while. It's a kind of a mantra it's become for me in my life. I'll give a little background and then I'll tell you why after you explain why you picked it. The quote is from Yoda, voiced by Frank Oz, Star Wars, The Empire Strikes Back, 1980 sci-fi adventure film. Yoda is a fictional character in the Star Wars universe, in case anybody's too young or too old to know. First appearing in the 1980 film The Empire Strikes Back, a small green humanoid alien powerful within the Force, and that's with a capital F, served as the Grand Master of the Jedi Order. Let's see, Frank Oz reprised the role in The Return of the Jedi, the prequel trilogy, the sequel trilogy. Yoda has become an iconic figure in popular culture due to his distinct pattern of speech and role as a wise. Okay, so here is the quote, and I love this, Lupe. Do or do not. There is no try. Oh my, haven't heard it in a while. Love it. Glad you picked it. Lupe, what does this have to do with your creativity, please?
I love that quote, and believe it or not, I recently used it with one of my leaders at work, okay? And it worked perfectly, okay? So I just want to say that that quote never dies, and people of all ages know what that means, really, or should know at least what that means. But, actually, just step back a little bit. I think I've always been very creative, even as a younger individual, as a kid, I was very creative, but I didn't know how to harness that creativity. I didn't know how to, I didn't have a role model, so I really didn't know what to do with the creativity. When I was in elementary school, I was learning how to play the piano. I was picked for the Lewis and Clark play at school. I won an art contest, but again, I didn't know what to do, right? And fast forward many, many years, and I felt like I needed to do more, but I didn't know how to launch. And so, and I would try, but there is no accountability in try. The magic is in the doing.
Very well put. Very, very well put. And the way I relate to it is that I was a programmer analyst back in the day. I'm considered an early woman in tech. We're talking, Larry, mainframe computers and key punch and 80-column hollerith cards and COBOL. I was a specialist in COBOL and PL1, Xerox Sigma 6CP5, and graduated to an IBM 4341 where we actually had a monitor where we could type the code and didn't have to carry the cards. I know. But Lupe, when you learn binary and binary math in school and binary, you learn that there's the switch. It's a light switch. It's either on or off. There's no dimmer. It's on
Right.
or off. There is no try. You do or you do not. And what a lot of people, I think, still don't understand is that doing nothing is a decision. Right, Stephen? Right, Larry? Right, Lupe? Doing nothing. I am not going to that party. You aren't wishy-washy. You are not. You made the no decision. The light switch is off. I am going. The light switch is on. Or maybe when you get there, you want to turn the light switch off, but that's a whole other story. So my point is, Lupe, it's words to live by, and this is something we could teach our children or our grandchildren. Do or do not. There is no try. There's no in between.
Right.
You either is or you isn't. You is or you ain't. There you go. Thank you, Lupe. I really appreciated that. And thank you the way you explained it. Stephen, he picked a quote that's a little bit like coming from your profession, dear, and I let you get away with it. We don't usually do that. But the quote is from Isaac Ike Davis, played by, oh my, Woody Allen. Manhattan. I saw that. I remember 1979 comedy drama film. One of his best known films. It's beloved by fans and critics and famously loathed by Woody Allen, who even asked United Artists Films not to release it. Did you know that? A group of intellectual, semi-bohemian friends living in Manhattan, every one of whom has his or her own problems, intertwining with those of the others. Ike Davis is a neurotic, self-ironic, impulsive, middle-aged, aspiring writer whose wife, Jill, played by, I forgot, Meryl Streep was in this. The mother of his son, Willie, divorced him after discovering, never mind, we won't get into that. Okay, here's the line Stephen has picked. My analyst warned me, but you were so beautiful. I got another analyst. Stephen, what? Talk to me. What is this all about? Go ahead.
I like the quote. It made me laugh. Yeah, but I actually like Lupe's. That I use that when I'm doing counseling with clients, it's don't sit the fence. Don't sit on the fence. Make a decision, and helping clients to do that. But I like the quote that I chose because it made me laugh.
Okay.
And one more thing, which is what I do in counseling, which is I say to people, I take very, very serious what brings you to counseling, but that doesn't keep us from finding humor as we help you to accomplish our goals.
I like that. Got to have some humor. Got to have some smiles, right? I think you're all smiling. Larry, you smiling?
You can tell.
He's smiling. I can tell. There we go. Thank you for the quotes, everybody. I appreciate that. I tell some of my guests who can't come. I have people who actually tell me I don't listen to music, I don't watch TV, and I don't go to movies. Wow. And I say, what rock have you been living under or hiding? Well, I don't say that really, but I have a list of about 50 movie and TV quotes and about 25 song quotes, and I'm happy to share that list with them. And I say, for goodness sake, just pick one. Okay. Yes, the best is yet to come, or you ain't seen nothing yet, or you don't get it, but your kids are going to love it, or, you can't handle the truth. But Lupe, yours is one of the iconic ones that's on that list. So thank you. Thank you all for the quotes. Very interesting. Stephen, I will forgive you for what you did. Stephen, do you have another quote that you...
But you approved it.
I did, I know, because I'm tired of arguing with people about their quotes. I was handling 38 guests, and I figured, let me just give them a pass on this. I actually got a kick out of it. So let's go to the part where you have each sent me very graciously, well, I demanded it, but you were gracious about it, 4 statements about your creativity. I'm going to pick one from each of you to start. Let's go around the table. We have lots of time. We're doing very well. So, Larry, I'm picking the first one. I found this interesting. I'll read it with your permission, and I don't want you to go looking for it, and then you'll unpack it, and we'll see if Stephen and or Lupe have anything to say about it. So Larry says, I just love helping all of life. I always get more than I give. Guess I'm greedy that way. An example from long ago. Here we go. Listen up. My high school English teacher wanted to keep students from cheating on tests. We were becoming friends, and he knew I was I was good with my hands. There we go. I built a device from a cigar box with moving parts and lights. He told students it was a lie detector and it seemed to work. Nobody wanted to take a chance. He remembered that from over 50 years ago. We're still friends. This is a keeper, Larry. What a story. Larry, tell us a little bit more, please.
On Andre de la Torre is his name, and he was just a young 20-something-year-old flamenco guitar playing guy who happened to be teaching an English class. And he always sees what's good in people. He's written the foreword to my next book. We used to go on motorcycle rides. He's a friend. I now get to help his son do stuff because I can fix things. I guess that I probably took that a little sideways from where we were going, but he's got a good imagination, and I might have a little bit of that, and it worked well together to scare any students from wanting to cheat.
Lovely. Question. How did you keep a straight face when people were talking into this box? Did you hook them up? Did you wire them? How did they think it was a lie detector? How'd that work?
They'd never seen anything like it. How could you not wonder? I mean, what does this thing do? It's like a spacecraft landing on the teacher's desk, watching them. So they
So they believed. They were believers instantly. Interesting. But did you hook them up? Did you have any fake electrodes or any wires that went onto their hands?
Oh, no. This simply sat in the front of the class and had a little thing that swung back and forth, and weren't going to mess with that.
Wow. That is probably one of the heights of How old were you at the time, Larry? Can you tell us?
15.
15. Okay. That's beyond the creativity and I would say curiosity, creativity, and courage. You had the courage to go to your teacher and say, I have an idea. I'm going to build it. I want you to use it. And the teacher was courageous and curious. I like those words to go with creativity, Larry, to say, let's see what the class does with this one. So you were probably a very young creative hero. You are to me because that took a lot of guts to do that. A lot of guts to think about it and to say, we're going to pull one over on everybody else. Lupe, any thoughts on that kind of creativity? What do you think?
My hats off to you, Larry. Wow, that's so creative. I could just think about doing a case study with those individuals in that classroom to see the outcome afterwards. That's amazing.
Quite a story. Stephen,
Yeah.
from the therapist perspective, what do you think?
I like it. It kept people accountable. It kept them on their toes. If they had any thoughts of cheating, it changed their perspective. It changed what they were thinking about doing. And for the next test, they were certainly going to be more prepared.
Mm-hmm. It might have changed somebody's life, actually, if you really think about it.
It might have. And going back to Yoda, do or do not, there is no try. It's like, you better tell the truth, and that's the way it's going to be. So, yeah, very, very interesting. Larry, thank you. I love the example. Lupe, I've got an interesting one from you. You say, creativity comes in waves. I cannot force it. Sometimes there is this data dump, and I've learned to carry a journal and a pen, always ready to take notes. I've used my phone to send myself messages or record sound bites that are downloaded from my brain. This is a process. I appreciate that. I think a lot of people do that, but not as specifically as you. Lupe, how did you come up with this idea, and what kinds of things do you write? Is this the middle of the night or the middle of a meeting? Tell us more. I love it.
Yeah, so typically those data dumps come through dreams. And I didn't realize that that was happening until I was, I think, in college, and I was working full time and going to school full time as well. And I was telling somebody my dream, and he was a VP of communications. And he said, oh my goodness, Lupe, those type of dreams are what some people wish they dreamed. And you should look into this organization and that organization and write your dreams down. But, I'm like, what does he know? And I kept having those dreams So then I realized I better start journaling this. So I did. I started writing. I started journaling everything that would come through my dreams. And so now today I keep a journal next to my nightstand. Now I'll tell you, I cannot force like if I'm writing something and I sit and I say, okay, I'm going to sit down and write this essay or I'm going to write this chapter of my book. I can't. I have to wait until, my brain decides that I'm ready for this data dump. So, and yeah, I mean, I just, that's kind of the way it works. I can't force it and it just comes. And I actually have an email that I created. It's Luli. I call myself Luli. And my sister used to call me Lulu, but for some reason I didn't like that name, so I changed it to Luli. So I get my phone and I send myself messages to Luli of everything that is coming down. And then later I get to look at it, copy, paste it, and work through it. Yeah.
I love it. That is a creative approach to the process of capturing the thoughts when they come, not forcing them, not waiting for them, not expecting them. And we have a little visitor here who's going to make a comment about that. Can you see this?
Oh, yes.
Yes.
This is live. We just had a Northern Cardinal. I'm not interrupting, but he's saying, I like what Lupe just said. He's telling me that. Okay. Just wanted to
It's
tell
so
you,
beautiful.
I'm so thrilled with this. Larry, any thoughts or Stephen on what Lupe just decided? Does this resonate with either one of you? Larry first, go.
Well, I actually like it. I do something along the lines of this. I keep my phone by my nightstand or on the nightstand, and article ideas come to me in the middle of the night that if I try to wait till morning to write it down, it's vanished. So I really like your approach. Capture it while it's looking you in the eyes. Yeah.
Very interesting. Stephen, thoughts?
Sure. I was given, so that made me think, I was given this blank gratitude book of blank pages. And I said, what the heck am I going to do with this? And so I kept it. And so then I began using it before I even wrote my book. And I might have it in therapy sessions, and something must be said, something from a client or something I said, something a little bit different. Or as we were talking about on your nightstand, and you wake up in the middle of the night, and you capture it on paper. So I began writing things, and when I began writing my book, I started incorporating things from the quote gratitude book, thoughts, and it kind of helped to write the book on its own, and you don't force it. You start a chapter, and well, that's all I can think of this time, and you stop and you move on to the next chapter, and it begins to fill in.
Interesting. I'll share a story with all of you. About 8 years ago, I decided I wanted to write a play, a romantic comedy, a dating romantic comedy. And I had no clue where to start. And one night, I was working a full-time job marketing for some bank in the city in New York. I was on Long Island. And I went on the internet and I said, how do I write a play? And somebody had a Word document that was Playwriting 101. And it said how you describe the scene, how you describe the people, how you do a little mini bio of your characters, how you open and close, how you say when the curtain goes up, the curtain goes down, all that good stuff. So I downloaded it, put it in. It was a Word document, and I put it into a blank, and I filled it in, and I said, okay. So the next night I came back, and I just started filling in. The next night, the characters started talking to me, Lupe, and in 3 nights, I had written the entire play. I wrote from 1 till 4 in the morning, and it poured. It just came. It was not, oh, what you going to say next? And how's he going to? It was like, what? He's talking, she's talking, they're talking. And it was just going on and on and on and on. And I decided, what am I going to do with it? So I was a TV host and producer on a cable station on Long Island. So I went to my crew and I said, let's do the play. And they said, fine. I had friends in community theater. And I said to them, listen, I know you're all involved with very serious plays all over Long Island. I won't make you work hard. I'll even have teleprompters with your lines, but it's going to be a green screen studio with a green curtain. And my director friend went to the city and he videotaped the noises of cars and buses and trucks and taxis in New York. And he stood up, he had somebody with him, and he stood up through the moonroof of his car and videoed the traffic. And then he got scenes from me in front of Penn Station where it started. And then I downloaded a virtual picture of a van, and we pretended it was a taxi. And my characters, my actors, I coached them, I directed them, I was in the control room with the crew, and I directed it. And I've never done that in my life. And they sat on chairs in an empty studio. And I bought a toy steering wheel. It was a take place in a taxi. They left Penn Station, they got into this cab, and the rest of it was in the interior. So I got a toy steering wheel that we mounted on a table for the taxi driver, and we produced it, and it was a blast. And then I'll send you all the links if you want. And a couple of more actors applied, so I did two versions. The woman was a different color hair, she was the same one, but the two men were different actors, and we had to get it down to 26 minutes, Larry. So my director friend George and I spent one night at his apartment till 5 a.m. editing, which was it was a little over an hour or so. We had to get it down to 26 minutes. And my mom, who was 98 years old, I said, Mom, she was a great piano player. I said, would you compose a song for the opening? And she did just a couple of bars, and it was perfect. So I recorded it on my phone, and we uploaded it. That's the opening. It sounds like a honky-tonk piano. And that was the play. And I did two more. And the same experience, Lupe. You're right. When it's ready, it's there. When the characters are there, when the ideas are there, it just comes to you. It just flows. And that to me is one of the most exciting parts of creativity. It just wakes you up. It keeps you awake. And it was just fun. Anybody have any comments on that before we go on? Anybody inspired here? Larry, you going to go write a romantic comedy play tonight? I don't know. What do you think?
I have so many well, I don't want to say chapters, but I have so many data dump pages that I've done throughout, like maybe the last 20 years or so, that I could probably put 2 books together. And one of them is about the end of the world. And it was just fascinating. And yeah, so I have so much, but I got to put it all together. I mean, the book that I have coming out right now, it's not part of those chapters but yeah, I mean, it's, I love it. And it takes time to realize that, this is happening. This is part of your creativity, inner person.
Well, I hope we're inspiring you. Release it. Let it go. I taught a class on blogging 101. I was doing some side work for adult education in Great Neck, Long Island. I taught eBay selling. I taught some online dating, and I taught a blogging course when blogging was just starting. And I had a woman who was writing every week. She'd write a little short blog. When it was done, she went home and she said, I think I have a book here. She took her chapters, Larry, her individual blogs, and she put them together in a little book, self-published. It had it bound, was called Raging Against Aging. She has a great sense of humor, a great perspective on it, and her life has gone through a lot of changes since then, but she published the book. It was based on the blog she wrote for my course. And Lupe, the pieces are there. Find a way to screw them together. Larry will loan you a wrench and a screwdriver, I'm sure, and some super glue. Stephen will give you some emotional super glue, and put them together. Do it. If it's there, it's just there. Any other comments for what I said? Anything else?
So often we just ignore those little voices when they come up, and you didn't, and a whole play came from it.
Yeah. And there were two more plays I did too. And I'll send you the links to all of them. And that was called Hail, Hail. I had another one with 3 women friends. We're about to celebrate the 50th birthday of one of them, and they're sitting in chairs in my studio, and I had a virtual set behind them of a gorgeous bedroom with French furniture, and one of them was in her bedroom, and these were her 3 friends. They were trying to get her to do an online dating because she was about to turn, with 55, the age of the speed limit, which I call the Long Island Expressway in New York. When it's really working, it's 55. And anyway, it was a blast. And then I needed men to be the people on the dating site, Lupe. So I found a couple of guys I knew, and they sent me their pictures, and I found a couple of voice actors. And they did the voices of these men who were calling into the site and recording that. It was just a blast. I'll send you. It just had a lot of fun. So, Stephen, I'm going to your statement number 1. I like this one. Here we go. And you alluded to it before, but I want to go into more depth. Stephen says, I'm most creative with clients when I'm successful in painting mental pictures for them. An example is explaining the collaborative approach in both the client and me attempting to figure out the mystery surrounding the client's presenting issues and what might be preventing them from achieving their goal. Here we go. Everybody wait for this. One mental picture is to have them imagine puzzle pieces spread out on a table. Lupe and Larry, are you picturing this? And together we put the pieces together into a cohesive picture for them, and I continue asking the client thought-provoking questions. I really like this, Stephen. Can you tell us more, please? What kind of puzzles? What'd they look like?
Oh, they're clues to what's going on in their life, and oftentimes they're clueless about how the pieces fit together. And I'll share with them. I'll say, I'm just going to try this out on you. It's a hypothesis, and you tell me if it resonates with you. And sometimes I'm on board, or they go, yeah, I didn't see that. And other times, and I always say that there's no ego in this. If I'm wrong, I say, well, then help me out. Where did I go astray? Get me back on the path of where you are. So there's a collaborative approach. We're trying to figure out what's going on with them together.
Interesting. Do they name the puzzle? Do they sometimes say, oh, I had a puzzle when I was 5 years old. It was a castle in France somewhere and I couldn't put them. I mean, did they ever identify a real puzzle that they did? No.
It's not so much that they identify with the puzzles itself, but it's trying to help them to the picture of what's going on and how to help them to find solutions, their solutions.
Their solutions. Okay. Larry, can you see that working? As you probably, when you're building things, it's a puzzle, right? Until you put all the pieces together, Larry.
Yes,
what tools do you use? What components? What materials do you use? Larry, you want to talk about that for a minute?
And keeping a broad view of things. But a big part of what strikes me is that you're doing this back and forth where you really listen to them. They really get to feel heard. And that doesn't happen very often.
No, not in this world.
I think that's the grease that allows them to get better.
Yeah. Thanks, Larry, for picking that up.
Yeah, very, very well put, Larry. That listening and hearing and giving back, and that also that one-on-one dedicated time, that quiet time is what's important. Right, Larry? And right, Lupe? And right, Stephen? That time you have to say, I'm here for you. I'm devoted. I'm dedicated to your finding your well-being, finding that place. Let's put the puzzle back together. Or maybe let's even find out what the pieces of the puzzle are before we can put it back together. What does the puzzle look like, right? Interesting. I might suggest that to my therapist. Let's see if we've got a long puzzle. Anyway, when I bought this house, I'm in Tennessee, the former owners had stuff in the attic, and it's a climb up on the stairs, open stairs attic, and I can't do those kind of stairs. And my friend Nancy, who helped me buy this, helped me find the house. I've known her and her husband from New York. I did their website and newsletter years ago for their business. She's 6 foot tall and she's not afraid of anything. So she climbed up there and she started, and we rigged up, Lupe, we rigged up a system where we had a big shopping bag on a pulley, and she would throw it down the steps and I would unpack it and put the stuff. There were 26 Springbok is the name of the company, 26 magnificent Springbok puzzles. Some of them never opened.
Wow.
There was a sewing kit with hundreds of spools of thread. There was clothing. There were holiday decorations. There was a little fake Christmas tree up there. And she just kept sending the stuff down and sending it down. But the puzzles, I have them piled up in a small cabinet. It's a huge garage. My garage here is the size of what my whole co-op apartment was in Great Neck, where I lived for 30 years. That's how big this garage is. And it was a decent sized apartment too. So anyway, so I've got all these puzzles. So Stephen, you might have motivated me. I'll have to, instead of watching crappy TV next weekend, I'll just get a puzzle out in your honor. Thank you very much. I just want one more statement. We've got about 7 minutes left, but I just want to touch on something. Larry is a big fan of hummingbirds. And Larry says, helping those thrive, who cannot help themselves feels good feels good being the one person who takes time to sit with and listen to an elder person in a nursing home. There was our listening again, and seeing the surprise at being heard feels good. That's why Larry liked so much what you said. He said, I'm currently going through 600 pounds of birdseed a month. So many animals show up. The deer are content only a few feet away. I use 10 pounds of sugar weekly for the hummingbirds. I usually have 40 birds at the feeder at dusk. I've only got 2 or 3 on mine. You're making me feel terrible, Larry. They don't mind when I'm still. It's like being bathed in Hummer electricity. Larry, I'm not sure how we got from here to there, but can you just spend a minute telling us about your hummingbird feeder? Go ahead.
Hummer electricity, hummingbird. I have every book I could ever find on hummingbirds, and they flap their wings roughly 55 times a second. In North America, electricity is 60 cycles per second. So it sounds very much like electricity. It's fun. And when they're just all around you, some people are scared they're going to like stab you with their beaks, but that doesn't happen. They're more interested in the sugar water.
Lovely.
And there's this sort of, I'll just shorthand call it the Zen of putting your hand on a feeder. I've had 3 hummingbirds sitting on my hand while they're sipping, and you have to figure out how to be still to make that happen.
Yep.
And, it's
Beautiful.
a gift.
It's a gift. Beautiful. Beautiful. I've been to some hummingbird and butterfly houses at some botanical gardens, and I had a hummingbird sit on my hand, and I've gone in and watched the butterflies. And I once had a dragonfly in a 95-degree summer morning at a famous location on Long Island North Shore near where I lived. It was the house of Williams Jennings Bryant or somebody like that, and it was turned into a little museum. And a photographer friend and I went there one Sunday morning. It was very, very hot. It was sticky hot. You could feel the electricity, Larry, in the air. It was that hot. And I looked out, and here on the rose bushes in the front, a hummingbird, I'm sorry, a dragonfly sat there and let me take its picture. And I've got a couple portraits that would just blow you away. I saw every detail. I saw the gossamer of the wings. It just sat there and looked at me. Or I thought it was looking at me anyway. I was looking pretty good. Anyway, neither here nor there. Thank you very much. I want to do we have a couple minutes left, just very few. A couple of quotes here from Rapunzel. Rapunzel, voiced by Mandy Moore, Entangled, which was a computer animated fantasy film in 2010. Venture outside your comfort zone. The rewards are worth it. And I think we all proved that. Let's see now. I have a couple of things today. 1959, this day in music history, Johnny Mathis recorded Misty. I get misty just holding your hand. So many teenagers made out to that. On this day in 69, Mick Jagger sent a letter to Andy Warhol, you all know those names, who was going to design the artwork for the Rolling Stones album Sticky Fingers. And Jagger wrote something a little obscene, but he said, in my short, sweet experience, the more complicated the format of the album, the more effed up the reproduction and agonizing delays. Warhol designed the working zipper on the cover of the album, which was one of the most famous album covers in history, and they couldn't mass produce it very easily, but they tried. On this day in 1990, Paul McCartney set a new world record for attendance at a concert by a single artist. His tour-ending show at the Maracana Stadium in Rio drew 184,000 people. And on this day in 2004, Jennifer Hudson was kicked off of American Idol because she came in number 7. She went on to win an Oscar and all kinds of awards. Just thought you'd like it. Today is Patti LuPone's birthday. Happy birthday. She's 75. Nicole Sullivan, the actress and TV comedian, 54. Rob Riggle, also a comic actor, 54. Andy McDowell, you all know her from Groundhog Day, 66. Tony Danza, well, who's the boss, honestly, 73 today. And Iggy Pop, if you like that kind of music, is 77. Today would have been the birthday of Queen Elizabeth II. She was born on this day in 1926. And we have 3 quick birthdays here. Oh, I have 4 minutes. Good. Okay. On this day today, a young man named Jake Williams is 26 years old, Larry. I had to tell you this. He's on YouTube. He only has 1.5 million subscribers. But what's interesting to me is his video of the last day of Sears in Canada has 60,000 views. I think I'm in the wrong business. 60,000 views. Then we have another YouTuber named Danny Padilla. He's 31 today. He only has 1.7 million subscribers, but he has 332 million views, Lupe. Can you even count that high? He does comedy shorts, voice impersonation videos, music collaborations, and challenges. I'm in the wrong business. And then we have one more on TikTok. Angel Jimenez, a man, is 21. He has 6 million followers. What does he post? Family, school, relationships. He references the early 2000s and his video, How Girl Gets in the Car. I have no idea what that means. Got 35 million views, Larry.
Oh my
35
goodness.
million views for one video. He superimposes his eyes and his mouth on inanimate objects and performs the objects speaking to each other. He had a video called Life of a Christmas Present that only got 3 million views. Obviously, it was a big failure. Today is World Creativity and Innovation Day. It's National Big Word Day because John of Garland in the year 1220 coined the term dictionary, and I won't give you any more of that. Today is Keep Off the Grass Day. It's Bulldogs Are a Beautiful Day. Okay. It's Chocolate Covered Cashews Day. It's Chickpea Day. Okay. It's National Alex and Javier Day. It's not their birthday, but if you know somebody named Alex, just say, today's your day. Congratulations. Same for Javier, starting with a J. It's National Tea Day, whatever you drink. It's Freelance Business Week. It's still April. Brussels sprouts, cabbage, cranberries, gooseberries, pecans, soft pretzels, and Asian pears. And it's the month of Adopt a Greyhound. I haven't yet. Adopt a Ferret. Definitely not. Poetry Month, Guitar Month, Jazz Appreciation, Frog Month, Kite Month, Humor Month, Welding Month. Larry, that's for you. And Straw Hats. Okay, I've got to close now. In 2014, Lupe, I used to close the show with the top 10 tips for women, and the number one, this was 2014, 11 years ago, was Aspire to be Barbie. The biatch has everything. There you go. Here's my closing right now, and I'm going to play the music in a second, the right music. So life is short. Break the rules. Forgive quickly? Not at all. Kiss slowly? Yes. Love truly. Laugh uncontrollably. Everybody laugh with me. 1, 2, 3. Trying really hard and never, ever regret anything that made you smile. Final words. Work like you don't need the money. I know we do. Dance like no one's watching. When I taught disco in high heels in a high school cafeteria with 250 students, they all watched. Sing like nobody's listening. Love like you've never been hurt. Stephen, we know we all have. Get over it. Let your heart regrow, regenerate, love again. Money talks, chocolate sings, la. And last but not least, thank you for turning me on. I stole that line from somebody else. Let me go and play the music. We're going to do the closing now. And let me raise this up, and here we go. And wait a minute.
Radio Red
There we go.
invites you to eavesdrop on her live, unscripted conversations with
again.
smart,
See, no
savvy,
background noise.
creative people.
Don't go
as she
away, guest.
discovers
We'll talk.
what makes them tick, where they find their inspiration,
That's all
when
of it.
creativity first became their passion, and how their creative process can inspire the rest of us to think out of the box.
I hope we inspired
Enjoy,
somebody.
aka Radio Red's always lively, cool conversations with creatives.
Larry's dancing.
Oh, how those lips can talk.
Thank you very much.